to sort of do an elevator pitch of what is a Jungian concept of life, sort of a Jungian worldview. And I think I would start with an explanation of the collective unconscious. So basically, what it comes down to is that we are not blank slates, you know. We come pre-programmed and pre-wired with a psychic structure that is very ancient, and we all have this psychic structure which is very real. You know, it's not a physical structure that you can see. You know, you can't do an X-ray in the brain and see the psychic structure, but it is very real. It is there. I sort of liken it to gravity. You know, it's real and it's very obviously there, and we know it by the forces that it the forces of it, the forces that it expresses. Yeah, forces. Anyway, we know it by its forces. So it's a structure. It's a psychic structure, and it's a collection of energies. I would say it's a collection of energy, psychic energy, that clusters in certain ways. And so this is the collective unconscious. This is our psychic structure. All humans have it. It's very ancient. It's from the beginning of human history. And it's just it's a priori. It's there. It just exists. It is as much as gravity is. Just a fact of the universe, fact of life. And so part of this collective unconscious is the concept of archetypes. And these are different patterns of energy and manifestations that become activated in different circumstances and exert a force, just like gravity is exerting a force on our bodies to keep us grounded to the earth. Archetypes exert a force in our minds that make us act in certain ways, that make us believe certain things, that make us inhabit exhibit certain attributes in our personalities. And every person has maybe a different collection or a different proportion of the various archetypes, or the archetypes express differently and more or less, or not at all, at different parts of your life. So, you know, say I'm a very ambitious person. I sort of have prioritized my own goals and ambitions over, say, relational connection. That's maybe more of an Artemis, higher, you know, I have more of the archetype of Artemis in me than perhaps someone who really wants to be a mother and really prioritizes their intimate relationships. I don't know, and you know, the archetypes are sort of limitless, but we have some main ones that can be seen repeated, and this is actually what myths and legend and fairy tales are exploring. This is why humans write this, and this is how archetypes can be tracked, actually, and identified, is through myths and stories that human societies and cultures have written. Because they so often follow along similar lines, they so often have similar patterns and attributes. They can be identified, and we humans identify them, and they happen to be sort of innate. The way a cartoon is drawn, you can ask a child which is the nerdy one, which is the smart man, which is the mean man, and like a baby will just know based on the appearance of the person, because the recognition is there, because these things are innate, because they exist and they can be recognized. And so once you sort of understand, archetypes and the collective unconscious, you sort of understand a lot about religion, and it's given me a new understanding of Christianity. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I feel that as human consciousness reaches certain milestones, new archetypes activate. And Jesus was one of those archetypes that activated. And it activated something within humans that we can take on a certain archetypal energy that replicates what we saw in Jesus. And but that wasn't perhaps available to us prior. But is the answer to, is the antidote and the counterweight to a lot of other archetypes, that archetypal energies that may have been very painful for humans. I think there's certain archetypes that cause us pain, suffering, and certain ones that make us feel liberated from our human suffering. And I think Jesus activated something in humans, and learning of him activates an archetypal energy and a pattern of psychic energy that protects us from a certain depth of pain. So that's